Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on one thing, single barrels. Best of all, you can try before you buy. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution so you know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and who from the industry may be coming in to visit. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. We are also sponsored by the Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers traveling minibars that are no bigger than a small purse or toiletry bag. Best of all, they are fully customizable so you can create the perfect piece that is unique for you. If you own your own business, what a fun and unique way to promote what you do. Check them out online at thebar2go.com. That is the number 2 in the Bar to Go. If you have wholesale questions, call my friend Isabel Clark at 504-481-1297. Finally, we are sponsored by the Neely Family Distillery. NFD is a family-owned business that keeps ringing up awards in the spirits world. Head to Sparta, Kentucky to experience the family history, award-winning spirits, and meet the Neely family. Check them out online at neelyfamilydistillery.com. Now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we talk about the re-release of the ABV Network's failed TV show.
Yeah,
my name is Miss
Beka controversial Sue. Already. We've already been bitching about it before we started. So
my name is Miss Beka Sue. Please join me in welcoming my failed co-host Steve Akeley, along with our special guests Darren McElroy, Lenny Eckstein, and Bo Cumberland.
Hey gang, what's up?
Howdy.
Hey all.
Hey all. Yeah, Bo immediately, of course, involved in this and really the heart and soul of what we do when it comes to video production. And I think he was a little hurt by the term failed there. But I think the lesson here is that things fail because of a multitude of reasons. Sometimes it could fail just because it's bad content. That happens in the world, that there's things that should fail because they are just bad. There's other things that are very good, that there's a lot that goes into something being successful when it comes to video, and there's things that are out of your control, and it just didn't come together for this particular project. And I think that's the meaning of fail here. We're going to talk about the content and why I think it's amazing, and I've enjoyed going back and watching those, and I want to encourage the audience to do that. But we'll get to that after the break. For right now, Darren said there's something he wanted to talk about. What is that, Darren?
So something happened the other day that reminded me something from my childhood. So I want to know.
Oh God, this is a therapy session right now.
Everyone's best neighborhood story, like something that happened in your neighborhood at some point in your life, insane, whatever. Is there anything that sticks out?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's something that sticks out to me big time. So Don Glore was 3 years older than me. Going to school, maybe my freshman year and Don Glore's senior or whatever. And this kid on the bus, I didn't realize any of the backstory. I didn't know any of the backstory, but on the bus, this kid was saying, my brother's back from the Marines. And I told him he needs to kick your ass and he's going to be at the bus stop today. So as we're getting off the bus, I know that the shit's going down. Don Glore is going to be in a fight when he steps off that bus with that Marine. And I know Don Glore. I looked up to him my whole life because he's like 3 years older. So you look up to the older kids and stuff like that. We play sports and he'd always dominate because he was older than us and all that. And he was like a star football player, wide receiver in high school. I thought, holy shit, I'm going to watch Don Glore get his fucking ass handed to him. And we get off the bus. And Don Glore fucking clocks this fucking Marine, drops his ass to the fucking street, and then just fucking walks home. Right back down Conleth Drive where I lived. And I was like, holy fuck. I just saw something insane. And it was amazing. What's
Don Glore up to these days?
Don Glore, I still see Don Glore every once in a while. So his dad had a painting business. He took that over, and he's a painter and successful, married a couple kids. And buddy of mine.
You ever run your mouth to him?
No, Oh, fuck! I never ran my mouth to Don Glore anyway. I was afraid. I knew he was tough. I just didn't. And when I saw that fucking Marine out there, and this guy was fucking built. He was jacked, man. And Don Glore he was a wide receiver, type of guy. So he
Why
had more
was he
of that.
going to beat him up? Why were they in a fight?
I don't know if he did something to the kid, mouthed off to him or something, because the kid was younger than. Well, maybe not. Maybe he was my age, I guess, because we were on the same bus. So I guess he was a freshman too. And I guess he said something to him, and his brother didn't like it. Said, "I'll take care of that guy for you." And he took care of him all right. Yeah, he's fucking.
Don Glore,
he's on the street bleeding. And that, in those days, school bus.
The Marine was.
The Marine was, not Don Glore. Don Glore didn't do anything but punch the guy. I don't think Don even got hit. And that's back in the days when the school bus driver had to go to the next stop, so they didn't even get involved. It just goes on. It was after school, so there was no repercussions for Don.
That's what's wrong with our country today, Steve.
Yes, it
We don't
is.
just go outside and either whip somebody's ass or get your ass whooped. And now it's never mind. But
yeah.
That's a fantastic story, Steve.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah,
That's
Don Glore.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I have a cool story that's kind of weird. So
Sure.
when I was a kid, we had this big like field behind our house and a big ditch, and then there was a neighborhood behind my house. And one summer, this kid, redheaded kid from the second neighborhood, would come over and met me and my brother. And so, three of us and a couple other kids in the neighborhood would play, it was like the first week we met this guy, we played and, kind of had fun and, whatever. And one night I had this dream that this kid ran away from home and he went down the street to somebody's house, like whatever happened in my dream. This is the weird part. My mom wakes me up that night and she says, "Hey, Bo, the kid that you've been playing with, what's his name?" And I said, "Oh, whatever. I can't even remember the kid's name." I said, "It's so-and-so." And she said, "He ran away from home tonight. Where do you have a clue where he is?" And I said, "Yes, he went to this house and he went," like I thought I was dreaming, I thought the dream was real. So I told my mom exactly where the kid was in my dream. Of course, it wasn't anywhere close to where he was. It was all wrong information.
I thought that Bo was a fucking prophet for a second here. I don't know about you guys. I was like,
diverting
oh my
police
God,
resources
he knew
now,
where he
Bo.
was.
Yeah.
But I get up and I remember getting up that night. There are police cars everywhere. So the kid really ran away from home.
Uh-huh.
But ironically, weird enough, I had this dream that he ran away from home. And in my dream, the specific places he went, that's what I told my mom. So the next day I get up and I was like, did you know? And so all that stuff was real. And she was like, yes. And he was nowhere where, like you said, he was going to be. But
Of course.
it was such a weird story. But I think about that story quite often, actually.
Okay. That is weird.
Yeah.
Well, Lenny, you got to top those two. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know if it'll top it, but what comes to mind, I'm sure there's others, but the first one I hadn't thought about this in a really long time. This had to be like early 90s, 90, 91, probably 90.
Okay.
I was in high
hammer
school.
time. That was hammer time.
Yes,
back then.
exactly.
Yeah.
I
You had
did
your
not
your
have-
hammer pants on.
Well, no, and I was also not 16 yet, so I was riding the bus to school.
Uh-huh.
And we're coming home on the bus, and there was a girl sitting a few seats back. And now, mind you, this is the early 90s, so
Sure.
girl's hair was not, it was tall, and it was like, there was like a wall of hair in the front.
Sure.
And I just heard this like scream of sorts, and I turned around and I see this girl pulling gum out of her hair.
Oh, God.
And I just thought to myself, that sucks. Next thing I know, I'm getting screamed at by the bus driver. I don't know if I was like pointed at for some reason, but I got blamed for, like throwing gum in this girl's hair. And the whole time, like, hey, there's no appeals process here. What's going on? So I got kicked off the bus. Not just kicked off the bus that day, but prohibited to ride the bus for, it was at least a month. It might have been 3 months. So I could walk to school. It was like a mile from my house to school, but I didn't want to. It's like cold out. So later that day, I came to find out it was this kid, Robert. I can't remember his last name. And he like laughingly was like, that was me. I flicked gum off my shoulder and it went right in her hair. I was like, well, fuck, dude. I got kicked off the bus. Like, you couldn't have stood up and like, hey, it wasn't him, it was me. So his brother was a little older and did have a car and drove. And I was like, hey, man, you're driving me to school every day because your brother fucked me over. And he was like, that seems fair. Okay.
Really?
So he drove me to school and drove me home every day for that like few months. And
You should have got Steve's friend to go whip his ass.
Yeah. You should have called me. You should have called me. I'd have sent on. Yeah,
I mean, I wasn't that pissed off that
You'd have taken care of business. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, totally. Actually, you know, this kid Robert was pretty tough. I mean, with two brothers who fight each other all the time.
Sure.
Anyway, I wasn't mad at him really. I mean, I didn't blame him for not standing up. I just thought, like, how the fuck is there no appeals process here? Like, why am I being blamed for this bullshit?
Right.
And it's not that I wouldn't have
You
done
look
it, but I
guilty.
did. Yeah, I guess I don't know. So yeah.
Okay. Beka, how about you? Something that happened in the neighborhood that still sticks with you to this day.
There's no way you don't have a story.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
no shit.
Yeah, she's trying to think of one that doesn't involve her, where it's just
Or
something-
violence.
Yeah, or violence.
Well,
Selling dimes or something like that.
I'm like trying to think of like not like weird stories, I guess. I mean, so it's just story. It's what was the exact question? Like just weird things that happen in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Or a
I mean-
good story from your childhood. Or something.
It's his best topic ever. So
there's a lot of
way better than
those.
that one with the three hands.
The weirdest, maybe not the weirdest thing that happened in the neighborhood, but a very strange thing that happened in our neighborhood was, so our neighbor behind us, his name was Val. He had a girlfriend for a long time. But they lived like directly. There was an alley behind our house, and their house was kind of butted up to ours on the alley. Like there's a road between us, but their garage was at our garage. He had a big chow, like with a big dog with the purple tongue, and he had a big Rottweiler named Buddy, and we just loved that dog. I'd go pet that dog. I wanted that dog so bad. And one day, all the police are back there, and we're like, what is going on back here? And I'm like, and my window faced his house. And so I'm like looking out the window, and we're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And the police are there, and there's an ambulance there, and they'd open up the garage door. And at one point, like we could like smell something like which was crazy because he was across the alley.
Uh-huh.
But I could like smell something like really bad after they'd opened the garage door. And Val had killed himself in the garage.
Mhm.
He had started his vehicle and just did really, probably the easiest way to go out, just, carbon monoxide poisoning or carbon dioxide poisoning in the garage. And it had been the middle of summer, and it had probably been like 96 degrees outside, 95, whatever it was, just outside. I don't know. I said 96. That's a weird number just to say. But it was it was like super hot out.
It felt like 98 though.
It felt like 98. It felt like 98 degrees.
It was only 96.
Yeah. And I just remember them like rolling this huge inflated bag out of the garage, and that was his inflated body because he was swelled up.
Really?
Yeah. Like a like a whale, like a puffed up whale in the ocean.
Okay.
And they like rolled this huge inflated body out of the garage. It was the craziest thing and like worst smell. And I was probably like 11 and just being like, what the like, I didn't say fuck because I didn't say fuck back then.
Sure, you didn't say fuck.
I was like, what in the heck is that?
All right, what in the heck?
And it was just really,
Becca, quit
like,
using that language.
yeah, it was like the weird, like it was just like crazy seeing something like that and like not really knowing what had happened. And then like years later, we found out like I had never asked because I was 11. So like, why would I know anything? I wasn't like, oh, why was Val dead? Like I didn't really know what had happened, but I guess it turns out so like his girlfriend had been cheating on him, and so he just fucking killed himself in the garage. And all I remember after I realized he was dead, I was just like, so can we get his dog? And like that's all I cared about because I didn't even know Val.
Dog's a free agent then.
Yeah, I didn't really know Val. I didn't really like know much about him. And I was like, can we get his dog? And I like begged my parents. I'm like, can we get Buddy the Rottweiler? Because it was like the
This guy
sweetest.
get him?
Yeah, I was like, this. The fucking cheating ex got the dogs.
Oh.
The cheating
A
fucking girlfriend, I guess, not an ex-girlfriend, his cheating girlfriend got the dogs. And I just have always been so upset about that because I wanted that goddamn dog. So that was just a weird
way
thing.
to extract a bloated body than rolling.
Well, they didn't roll him like on a fucking gurney, Lenny.
Or
Jesus Christ, he's on a gurney, rolling him out on a
Well,
gurney.
what I hate about
They
the
were
story.
rolling him out.
What I hate about this story more than anything is I feel like when I die, Becca's going to be there. And she's going to be like, "Oh, it reminded me of Val. He was all bloated." And they're like, "No, he was fine. It was that's just the way he looked. He just died. He's not bloated or anything." Becca's just like, "Oh, the heat. He's bloated. It's 96." They're like, "No, it's actually 58
They
degrees."
were rolling him out of there like
no
a
bloating.
fucking
Oh yeah, if he was that
fucking
bloated, I was like, I guess
snowball.
they rolled him like a log.
It's happened again.
gross.
It's happened again. Steve's dead. He's all bloated. No.
Okay, Gurney makes more sense.
They rolled him out on a gurney.
They just rolled his body like a basketball.
He was in a zipped
His
up
legs
body
couldn't even
bag
touch the ground
that
'cause
was
he was
very inflated.
I mean, like a couple of the guys from the morgue were like, just roll him out real quick.
roll
No,
him.
Fuck it, guys. Go
roll
get the
him.
gurney.
They
Roll
go,
his
"Work
body.
smarter,
What
not
about the
harder."
11-year-old out
It'll all
there?
work.
She's fine. She's fine. She won't be a problem at all.
Fucking rolling. Oh my god. No, he was on a gurney in a zipped up body bag that was
Right, makes more
very
sense.
large.
Makes
And he
more
was
sense.
not that
Makes more
large.
clarification.
Oh shit, Darren, this is your best topic ever. What story do you got? I feel like Darren's story is going to be the
So
latest one.
my original story was going to be about a meth head naked on his roof, but I've got a better one.
Okay.
So, it was a snow day. I was
rolling Val. They just rolled him all the way down to the hospital. They're like, I got momentum now.
That's
Let's
the name
keep
of
this
our
thing
next
going.
whiskey is Rollin' Val.
Rolling Val.
So it was a snow day in like 8th grade, and I had this friend who was homeschooled, and he came up to my house and he was like, "Hey, you want to go mess around in the snow?" I was like, "Okay." And so he's like, "Oh, there was this girl that lived in our neighborhood," and he's like, "Hey, do you know where she lives?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Let's go mess with her," because he thought she was cute and whatever. I'm like, "Okay."
Sure.
And so we went up to this person's house. I was fairly certain she rode my bus. I thought I knew where she lived. And we knocked on the door and ran, but we just like ran like right behind the fence.
Right.
Well, then all of a sudden we're like in this wood fence and we hear the snow crunching on the other side of the fence.
Uh-oh. Well, sure, they can follow your tracks. You
Well-
dumbass. It's snowing.
So I took off sprinting full speed down the road. And then when I got like 4 houses down, I turned around. And
It was
I
the old
saw-
guy from Home Alone, folks. That's the story.
But my friend had been
Go ahead.
grabbed and pushed into a tree on the side of the road. And then he grabbed me and threw me in the snow. We were all like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" And then he like took our phones out of our hands because we were recording it and like threw it in the concrete.
Really?
I
And,
agree with this old man.
and I stood up and I was like, "Well, I guess we had the wrong house." And
We
so
had-
he ended up breaking his arm and whatever. That's not the important part.
What?
But
He ended
Throw
up
him
dying, but it's
too
not a
hard?
big deal.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
They rolled him out of the house in the snow.
but we realized afterwards, we called the cops and a bunch of stuff happened. But I was off by only 4 houses. So she lived 4 houses further down.
houses
And it was some guy that worked the night shift that had just gotten home and we woke him up. And
He doesn't take wrong numbers well. He was angry about that.
I fully
So,
support
yeah, that
man's
was-
decision.
that's
Yeah.
my impressive story.
Yeah. We had the neighbor because we play street ball all the time, and I'll be goddamn, he must have just sat out there and watched, because if the ball got away from you, and it had to roll down like 3 houses, but we lived on a slight hill, so if you get a pitch that gets away from someone, it could go there. If it landed in his yard, he'd run out and grab it and take it inside. And my parents were like, "Don't
That fucker.
put your shit in his yard." Yeah, you can't. Mr. O'Callahan keeps the balls. If you put them in his yard, you can't do that. Now these days, they would be on the internet, and Karen would be yelling and the whole thing. But you didn't do that to Mr. O'Callahan. Oh, wow. Right, Bo?
Man.
What type of
for sure.
old hag do you have to be to steal people's balls? Like that's a dick
I mean,
move.
did you ever consider the fact that maybe you guys are fucking annoying?
We were annoying. I'll give you that. But we're kids too. I mean, and we're doing
As a child, I would have been like, absolutely. What kind of a fucking monster would do that? As an adult, I'm like, yup. Fuck them kids.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
So,
on that note, it is time to drink. What is everyone drinking? Let's start this time with Bocephus Beauregard. What do you got there, buddy?
I'm gonna go with the RD1 Brazilian Amburano.
Okay, Amburano.
Yeah.
Is that the right pronunciation? Because I hear so many.
But it was Amburana or something.
I don't even know.
It's Amburana. It's Amburana.
It's Amburano now.
I
like Amburano better, but it's Amburana. But.
Yeah. Squeaky.
Yeah. Interesting. It sounded like it had potential there. It had potential, but it just didn't go the way you wanted it to. All right, Lenny, what do you got?
Stupid Barry.
I got the
it's Barry's fault.
The Whistle Pig Summer Stock whiskey, Kit Viper limited edition.
Yeah. Look at you. Oh, that was good.
That was good. That was really good.
A little sloshy, but good. Yes. Yeah, overall good. Overall good. What do you got, Beka?
I have got some Barker's Mill from MB Rowan. I saw my buddy Paul this weekend, so we'll crack this open.
Okay. That was decent, but not as good as Lenny's. Lenny's got the lead. I've got Wollersheim, 134 proof.
Whoa.
That was a good cork pop right there, folks. That is our lead. What do you got there, Darren?
I also have some Wollersheim.
No, not as good as mine. Not as good as mine.
No.
Close, so.
Yeah, I win. Cheers, gang.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about this TV show and what's going on with it, where you can see it if you'd like. We'll do that in just a few. Okay, let's talk about the people that make these shows happen. First up is the Stave and Thief Society. Via their in-person class at Moonshine University in Louisville, Kentucky, the Stave and Thief Society is the place where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge an executive bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my executive bourbon steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. We're also sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop focuses exclusively on barrel picks. It's the job of owners Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot to seek out distilleries that are making the best whiskey in the world, taste through their barrels, and select the ones that are off-profile in the best way possible. They have high standards and refuse to allow anything into their store other than something they would be proud to have their name on. This leads to some really awkward conversations with distilleries that can't make it, but they do it for you, their customers. Learn more about what is going on at their St. Louis-based store by heading over to abvbarrelshop.com. Last but not least, we are sponsored by Neely Family Distillery. Royce Neely is the 11th generation distiller in one of America's oldest distilling families. A visit to Neely Family Distillery takes you through family history, where you can see all the artifacts and newspaper clippings through the years from this family that started distilling in America after James Neely arrived from Northern Ireland in 1740. Today, Royce Neely and his team are crafting some of the best spirits in America. Their bourbon and absinthe offerings keep winning top honors in the spirits competitions. Recently, their absinthe made history as the first platinum winner in the absinthe category at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. Neely Family Distillery is definitely a bucket list destination if you are a bourbon fan. Learn more about their spirit offerings, visiting their facility, and the awards they have collected over at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com.
This is Evan Neaters, and you're listening to the Bourbon Daily. Cheers.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we're talking about bourbon reminiscing.
Yes, we are. So this was a TV show that Bo and I worked on. I don't even know how long ago it was. It was a long time ago that we did this. And like I said, we tried to get it on Amazon. That was our platform at that time. For some reason, they rejected it. They had changed from the policy where they basically accepted everything as long as you met some basic criteria, that in terms of ethics and things like that. And that certainly met that. But for some reason, they rejected it. So then we tried to put it on Vimeo, and we just couldn't get any traction. No one, it was a good platform, but no one cared. No one downloaded it. So very few. So now we've got it out on YouTube, and it seems like the crew is watching it. It's a fun show. It's kind of a pop culture type of thing. People are put in groups of 2 or 3 with people from the network and people from the bourbon industry, and you throw out topics to them, and you just have them weigh in on them, and it's nostalgic type stuff. So, I think it's been going really well. It's available out on Bourbon Sasquatch on YouTube, and you can check that out. But it's been fun. Have you guys watched any of these things?
Nope.
Has anybody watched them? Nope. Okay.
I watched it 3,000 times, Steve.
3,000. Yeah, as you made it.
Nice way to do your part.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it because I was supposed to be on it, and then I wasn't. So, nope.
Well, you can't embrace something
Nope.
just because you're not part of it.
Nope.
I wasn't part of it, but I did embrace it.
Well, here's the thing. Becca says she doesn't watch the stuff she's involved in, so there's no scenario where Becca then watches.
I can't do it.
Yeah, so she's not supportive in any
I'm
way,
looking
so.
back to see if I can figure out when it was because you
I asked
had
you.
wanted me to be
I threw out an
on,
offer.
and I said
This was
sure.
way before COVID. This was probably
Oh, yeah.
It was 2019
17 or 18 or something, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. I think like 2018. I think.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
So
You
here's
did
the thing. My feelings weren't hurt or anything. I don't think it was a failure in that. I think the people. I mean, it is a failure in that many people did not get to see it, but the people
That's
that
a failure. Yeah.
I think they do like it.
Who? I don't know of anybody who saw it actually before. Now I know. I'm like Tim Swire. There's a lot of people watching it now.
I think McNew, she
Did
got it.
McNew?
I think she got it whenever it was on.
I know the Robinsons did because I went over to the Robinsons' house one time and they're watching the show. I walk up and they're in their living room watching that show, laughing, and I'm like, and I knock on the door, like, here's the live version. I'm here. Yes, yeah. So the Robinsons watched it, but I don't know what other people did. I don't know.
I watched it when I guess the link was just thrown out there fairly recently.
Yes.
And while I watched it and very much enjoyed it for the amount of time I had, which was like 10 minutes before I had to get up and do whatever else, I feel like I've seen it before, but so I don't know if you know anybody like this, maybe you're like this, but like I could watch like The Godfather tomorrow and be like, I don't remember this part. Like I forget, I can't keep everything in my small brain. So I discard things, without intention. And I feel like I've seen it and I discarded it. So it was like new again. And I enjoyed watching Papa weigh in about Lady Gaga's meat dress.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Classic.
Yes, it was
Then
excellent.
there's 8 episodes. So, you watch part of one. There's 7 other episodes that came up besides that.
I'll watch more.
Yeah. Oh.
I
feel
have
like
not
it's more
watched them
drinking,
yet.
though. Like, not drunken history, but if you've found the middle ground between,
We were
bourbon
drinking.
reminiscing and drunken,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe that happens.
It's
in
the
later
halfway
episodes.
point. It's the halfway point.
Okay. All right.
Now, what are you saying there, Darren?
I have not watched them yet. I was gonna watch them last night, but then I fell asleep and went to bowl soup in my lap. But
Oh God.
I'm just interested in the idea because like I'm a Gen 3er, so I'm new to all the ABV Network things. But I have gone back and listened to a lot of the old podcasts, and I'm really curious what this old TV show was like. So that's
I don't know that a lot of the podcasts hold up, but I think this show does. I think this show feels as fresh like it's like they just did it, and it's not. I mean, it's old, but I think it holds up really good, and I think it introduces you to some of the characters. You get to see what Bronner's really like hanging out with. So when you go and meet him, he can be pretty quiet, and you get to see the Bronner that I hang out with, why I like hanging out with Bronner. You get to see why I like hanging out with Weebrink. Weebrink also very. If you're just going to run into him in a business situation, he's going to be very quiet. You got to see some of the fun that is Andrew Weebrink in this thing. You got to see Mike, the bartender. God damn, he kills it. He's got an opinion on everything. It doesn't matter what you throw at him. He's got an opinion on it. I'm sure if you go in and ask him what he thinks about the Barbie movie, he'll give you a rating on it. He rates several movies in there. So he's a good bartender because he can able to talk about any topic. So you get to see some of that stuff. And Royce Papal and I were paired together, the three of us, and it was just fun trying to get Papal to weigh in on pop culture things. And the amazing thing is, he has an opinion on a lot of them. He knows more than you think. I mean, talking about Lady Gaga and the meat dress and all that. Do you think he even knows who Lady Gaga is? He does. That's a weird thing to me that he was able to talk about that. I just assumed he wouldn't know any of this stuff. And the fact, he had an opinion on the Lady Gaga meat dress and how ridiculous it was is hilarious.
I thought, so the way we filmed this thing is for your segment, we went through 8 episode. Correct. So my guess was after 2 questions, he was going to tell all of us to go to hell, get up and walk off. And,
he stayed there the whole time.
Yeah, he did.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it is one of the tells, of course, I'm certainly younger there. Also, Royce looks a hell of a lot younger. Papal looks exactly the same. 100%. The absolutely zero difference. You could see him probably wearing the outfit if you go to the distillery tomorrow that he was wearing in that. He's just one of those type of guys. He's got 5 outfits, and we caught him on wearing that one that day, and that's it. So, yeah. So,
do you know all the people that were grouped together off the top of your head, or?
There's a lot of them. There's more than I even remembered.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some that are in there more than others. Maybe it's just the way they answered the questions or whatever, because Bo ultimately had the editing capability. So like Napolitano and Dana the Dreamer 6 was on there. There's one, it's Wes Harden, and I forget the other guy's name. Even he hasn't been on any ABV Network stuff in a long time. I forget the guy's name. He's a barrel strength gentleman or something like that on social media. And he used to do a podcast with Wes, and it just happened to be at that time. And we paired those two together. And then you got Jeremy Shell and Lori Mangum. You got the 3 we talked about with us. You got Susie and McNew, Bronner and Weebrink, Mike, the bartender, and Phil Collin. I don't know if I'm missing anybody else there. There's probably a couple other ones.
It was supposed to be someone funny you were going to pair me up with, but I just, I lived in North Dakota.
Yeah.
There was
Jackie Zykan and Jeff from Iowa.
Jeff from Iowa.
Yeah, that's who you guys had them paired together. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a funny one. So, because she just basically rolls her eyes and rips on him the whole time.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like, a hayseed type of persona with, someone who is very worldly and travels a lot and does a lot of cool things. And you got somebody who doesn't do any cool things. And it's kind of funny to see them.
Is there a season 2 in the future?
Probably not.
I don't think so. The only way that would be possible is if someone saw it that was in the TV industry that was like, I like this concept, we're going to pay you this amount to do it again. For doing that for nothing, we put both through way too much for that. That's a lot of editing to go through all that type of thing. I can't even imagine what he had to go through to put that. And it's got all the great graphics in there and stuff like that. Like further expands upon some of the. I mean, he did it right. So I would think if someone saw that and be like, just do what you did, and then we'd get together and do it again, wouldn't we, Bo? I mean, someone's writing a check. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
It would take me so we did 8 episodes, and each episode, it would probably take me 3 or 4 weeks to get a good rough draft. And then it was a lot of work.
It's arduous. Yeah. That's why I'm glad people are seeing it at this point, because it's worth seeing. It's funny. And you did a lot of hard work on it.
But I will say this, the hardest part though was to take, if and everybody didn't answer every question. So, you may have had, so each episode I think has 6 or 7 topics or 8 topics maybe.
Yeah.
You may have had 2 topics in episode 1, 3 topics in episode 2, that kind of thing. But there was so much footage and it was hard to narrow it down. Like for each question, we allotted like maybe 5 minutes of time.
Right.
But each question probably had, an hour or more worth of footage. So it's like you got to scrub through all of that and figure out what's the
Right.
best 5 minutes of the whole hour of that question. Then you move on to question 2, and it was just.
And you're also not dropping in their thoughts on the topics. You're cutting it. It's like so like me, Papa, and Royce might start talking about a topic. Then you may cut over to Susie and McNew talking about it,
Right.
and then you might go to someone else, and then you may come back to the three of us talk further. I mean, you're doing all that kind of stuff too. So there's a lot of work that went into that. It's funny though. I mean, when Bronner starts talking about the topic is Nipplegate at the Super Bowl, where the Janet Jackson ripped on the thing, and Bronner just goes off on apparently he lost $1,000 on that Super Bowl, and I lost. Listen to me, $1,000. I don't give a fuck about the nipple thing. I don't care. I don't care about that. $1,000. You get that? He's straight to
Isn't that the one? Then he started talking about he woke up and he had purchased a limousine or something.
No, that's Weebrink that bought the limousine.
Oh yeah.
It's a different one. Yeah, Weebrink bought the limousine.
But none of them touched on the subject. It was all about
right. And you just throw out this weird shit. It's like number 2 pencils. Is there going to be what? Is there going to be anything funny that comes out of a discussion about number 2 pencils? And that fucking topic kills. Yeah, people are talking about it and Bronner and
just like small talk.
Yeah, and it kind of is. You just never know what's going to be the one that sets everyone off. And yeah.
And what some of the kind of behind the scenes stories of the intro for that. So it's Steve and I took a day where we went all over Louisville and like filming these iconic locations. And so what is it? Is it the tower that has the Old Forester model on it, the water tower? And we get out, and it's not the most appropriate neighborhood for us to be in.
Right, it's a bad neighborhood.
So before we get out, Steve's like, let's just get the shot, get back in the car, let's not make any noise, and let's get out of here. So we're in my wife's car. We get out. I get the shot, and instead of hitting the unlock, because I locked the doors when we got out. So instead of hitting the unlock button, I hit the panic button. So it's going, and then everybody looks at us, and I'm like, just not get in the car. Let's get out of here, Steve.
And it wasn't a day later. There was like a hooker killed right there on the street, right by where we shot that thing. It was like, God damn.
They rolled her out.
Yeah. So it's worth seeing. So yeah, that intro, and again, you see it. It's 30, 40 minute of the show, and it has a theme song that I wrote, and Susie put to music, which is hilarious. And that's pretty cool too. But again, you don't think about it. But yeah, that was like a whole day of going around getting shots of parking, because a lot of it's in downtown Louisville. Where do you park? It's finding a place to park and.
Yep.
Go drag the equipment to get the shot and go, and we're doing a lot of that kind of stuff, trying to maximize our time. We did get a lot of cool iconic stuff in there for sure.
Yeah,
good stuff. All right, on that note, we're going to wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Darren, we'll start with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at the Bourbon Adventures. Also 5 days a week at the ABV Barrel Shop.
All right, Lenny.
You can find me and the rest of Deer Hammer on social media at Deer Hammer, on the web at deerhammer.com. And you can come visit us in beautiful Buena Vista, Colorado.
All right, Bo.
I'm on all the socials at My Journey Through the American Spirit and Bourbon Sasquatch.
Miss Beka Sue.
You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram, and not on Bourbon Reminiscing. At Miss Beka Sue, 1K nosies.
All right, for me, I guess in season 2, Becca makes it for sure.
Oh, the non-existent season 2.
Yeah, please fund us for season 2, and you'll get to see.
Don't do that.
Yeah. For me, I first of all, I want to start by Bourbon Reminiscing. Put in a plug for that. Check that out. Bourbon Sasquatch on YouTube. You should be watching that. Great show. All 8 episodes are out now. So as you listen to this, they're already out there. They were out as we record this, and you can check all it. You can. We released them one a day, so we didn't allow you just to stream them on demand. You had to wait. So it was like an event thing every day for 8 days. One came out, but we're past that now, so they're all out there. So check that out. YouTube, Bourbon Sasquatch. much. For me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akeley on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website. That thing's abvnetwork.com. Check it out. Everything that we do is out there. We put our previous shows, our blog, so much more, abvnetwork.com. Come by and see us, the ABV Barrel Shop. We always have events going on. We just had Bronner in there the other day. We had Fred Mosenter in there last week. We had Bernie Lubbers in there. So it's a place where shit happens. So check us out online, abvbarrelshop.com. Miss Beka Sue, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I'd just like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review that includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. If you like what we're doing, we ask you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
Great job today, gang. Fartings, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Peace. Before we finish the show, let's talk about some of the great companies that support the ABV network. First up is Moonshine Still Pro. Moonshine Still Pro is owned and operated by Russell Creed, who makes stills for the hobby distiller. He offers a one-stop shop for everything the at-home distiller needs. Whether it's a small, experimental stovetop still or something bigger you run outside, he has the still or parts you would have difficulty fabricating yourself if you were trying to build a DIY still project. Additionally, he has resources to assist in creating unique distilled spirits, including heirloom grains, barrels for aging, and recipes. Check out Russell's company online at moonshinestillpro.com. Finally, I have a question for you. Have you ever boxed a bear? Of course not. That'd be silly. Bears really don't follow the rules, so shots in the back of the head, punches to the nuts, and scrums after the bell would be the norm. A better idea would be to enjoy Boxing Bear Whiskey, a brand crafted by Nobleton's Distilling House in Union, Missouri, and sold exclusively at the ABV Barrel Shop in suburban St. Louis. This is a popular offering that sells out quickly, but when you're in town, stop by the ABV Barrel Shop and see if they have it in stock. Better yet, sign up for their email and text distribution over at abvbarrelshop.com and you'll know exactly when it is in stock. This is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network, signing off. We thank you for listening to our programming and truly appreciate your support.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.